Hi everyone, this is Matt. Welcome to the Real Gamerscore podcast. This week I'm joined by Cameron and Warren. Here at Real Gamerscore, we'd like to discuss all things Xbox, achievements, and getting just the tip from strangers online. This week we talk about the gold market, taking stock of our gamer goals, and driving our $250,000 sports cars into the horizon. But first, here's the song of the week. Do the Chivo Shuffle. Get your game on hustle. Watch the ratio tumble. Hear the forums grumble. You need a guide to get you win if you want to be on top. You need a team to help you out if you want to be Stallion. Smirnoff, gotta be cool on Xbox. You gotta be cool on Xbox when your ratio's low. TA ain't got time for the scrubs. They wind up with no skill and no games to play through. They message, can you help them in a session? But you ain't got the time. Earn it now. Earn it now. All right, wonderful singing by me, as always. Any ideas, guys?
I'm stumped. I'm sorry.
Unbelievable. I tried to make it thematic for this episode. Cameron, do you know what it is?
It is the Wall Street Shuffle.
Oh, okay, yes, it is the Wall Street Shuffle. Do you know who sings it?
I looked it up before, but I have no idea.
Shh. No,
Breaking the illusion.
Don't pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Sung by 10cc back in the 1970s.
They really didn't have any good music back then, did they?
Oh my god! I'm just gonna do this podcast by myself. This is fucking ridiculous. All right, well, welcome to the Real Gamerscore podcast, everybody. It's we've got our special guest Warren with us today. How you doing, mate?
Oh, not too bad.
Yeah, let's just get into it.
Yeah, sounds good.
If you want to get in touch with us, discord.io/realgamerscore is where we have all of our chats. Basically, if you don't know what Discord is, it's a big chat room with a bunch of different sections. We talk about the podcast, we talk about video games, we talk about memes. We do talk a little bit about the news. We also have a question channel in there. You can ask questions of the podcast that we answer, and a few other bits and pieces. We've also got a Patreon, patreon.com/realgamerscore. Patreon's basically a way to support the artists, quote unquote, that we are, and creators that you enjoy by giving them some financial aid each month through a subscription. So we use that for server costs and hopefully to do some prizes and giveaways in the future. With that out of the way, let's just get straight into the news. Cameron, newsboy, what have you found this week?
Alright, so I just accidentally clicked out of it. What the hell am I doing with my life? Alright, so the price of gold went up and then promptly went back down.
I mean, well, to be fair, the price of gold fluctuates quite a bit.
Xbox Live Gold.
Oh, I see. Okay. So basically Microsoft said, oh, hey, guess what? You know those $600 checks you get? Guess what? You're going to be paying for a little bit extra for your Xbox Live Gold going forward if you aren't already on Game Pass Ultimate.
So it was meant to increase $1 US per month.
Mm-hmm.
$5 for 3 months, I believe.
Yeah.
And then $20 for 6.
Yeah, and as we mentioned before, they took away the 12-month option a few weeks back. So yeah. I guess this, and we sort of mentioned that it was surprising that they didn't change the pricing at that same time. So, I mean, I guess this was kind of something they'd planned on doing. The timing seems a bit weird, though, right?
Yeah. I'm just very surprised on, I fully expect the whole intention of this is to drive Game Pass Ultimate as more of a deal.
Sure. I would agree. Warren, what do you think?
To me, it almost feels like they were, testing the waters. They were trying to get rid of maybe gold. I don't know, see if it's something that they could do.
Yeah, it's make it unappealing. I mean, it's kind of a dick move, right? Because the way you should be doing it, at least in my opinion, would be make the other offering so good that gold is just not really worth getting. rather than making gold so expensive that no one wants to buy it. Like if you're going to do that, you might as well just cut it all together.
But the problem with that at the same time, though, is you're never going to always appeal to everybody. And gold will be, I'm just trying to think of people like limited internet connections, that kind of situation, where Game Pass is not going to be a feasible option for them.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. But realistically, if you're going to be gaming online with a data cap, you're going to be running into trouble pretty quickly. Well, I mean... Yeah,
So just to give you a story, yeah? Every time I'm going to Swan Hill on my weekends, I'm taking the Series S with me. I'm downloading the games beforehand. I have 2 gigs data capped there, so I can play online, but everything needs to be planned beforehand. Yeah,
I mean, so you wouldn't be able to do your 6 terabyte Game Pass download over there, right?
No.
Right.
My parents would kill me.
6 terabytes.
Yes, I know, right? He's a madman. I don't know, I mean...
I got the trophy to show for it.
Yeah, sure. I have a trophy too, except it's still misaligned. They never got back to me, by the way.
They never got back to me about the delivery details too. It was just like, alright, cool. So let's just dump this, very expensive box in front of the doorstep, and if it gets stolen, it's not our issue.
Yeah, like not that I'm unappreciative, but
no,
yeah, a little bit of a downer. But yeah, it seems like maybe this is or was, I should say, the strategy to sort of make gold unappealing and try to push more people towards Game Pass, which they've been doing with Game Pass Ultimate and adding in xCloud support and PC Game Pass as well as regular Game Pass, but.
They've been adding like 1 million subscribers a month ever since the pandemic started. Was it?
Yeah, it's a crazy amount. Like they've been. Okay, question for you two: Is this just a dick move to get more money, or can you think of any other real reasoning behind it?
Well, multiple options: get rid of gold permanently and just have Game Pass Ultimate as the primary thing.
Yeah.
Which I honestly feel like it was steering more towards that, and just saying, all right, we don't have to have you continuously. What's the word? You won't technically own it because it's Game Pass,
sure.
But just having that Netflix-based subscription, you could go down the route of they wanted more money from it, but I just don't. I don't believe that angle. Everything leads to me like making this a less competitive option, so Game Pass Ultimate looks better. But then at the same time, they shot themselves in the foot, and the whole narrative became, well, this is double the price of a PlayStation subscription. Plus, I don't have my free-to-play games with it. Whereas in PlayStation, and every other service does have that.
Yeah, that was that. So that was one of when they reversed this, and it took less than I think it was 8 hours they'd reversed it, which is impressive. That they'd also now changed their policy so any free to play games now no longer require games with gold. With gold in general.
Yeah, the other interesting thing was that was apparently already in the pipeline.
And they had already talked about it.
There was a few big media like gaming outlets that backed that decision, saying we were already aware of this. This wasn't just let's keep the fans happy kind of situation. This was already pre-planned.
Yeah, it seems a bit strange to increase the price, but then require it for less free-to-play stuff. Like, it just kind of feels like it's all over the place. Like, if you're gonna cut it. Like, just bite the bullet, because this gradual stuff obviously just really shines a light on the fact that it's kind of a pointless service in terms of paying for online in general, especially when we have people playing, people playing games on PC. You have cross-platform stuff. People people playing it online, like on the computer, don't need to pay for gold to play online because no one would. They tried that with the beginnings of Games and Windows Live back in the day, and they scrapped that immediately because everyone on the PC was like, "No, fuck you, I'm not paying for this. Why would I?"
Because they're too used to it with Steam. Steam never charged.
Exactly right. That's the thing. Is that Steam never charges, Epic never charges, and even before that, before we had these two sort of homogenous game collections, even most of the gaming service stuff didn't charge. Besides the odd sort of dedicated server thing, which was kind of what Xbox Live Gold was supposed to get around back in the day. Was that, when you had a few paid, instead of having 10 paid subscriptions to the 10 games that you're interested in for dedicated servers, Xbox Live would essentially do all that work for you, and you just pay them the one monthly fee. But I think we're far beyond that now.
Yeah.
Well, here's my curiosity is piqued is all those free 1 months they've been giving out. How long can they keep doing that? Are they going to be able to keep cranking out those free 1 months? Is this something that they're going to use to help pay for it? Maybe. Is this something that they're going to change? Are they going to go back to maybe if we can't do an up on the gold, maybe we'll do up on Game Pass instead? I don't know.
I mean, I definitely see the price going up. Especially if they start adding, when we start getting the Series X games getting added to it, and of course, all of their studios coming out with first-party games, and then EA adding more things, and if some of this rumored Ubisoft stuff happens, it wouldn't surprise me at all if the price goes up another $5 a month on the Game Pass Ultimate stuff, and they just scrap gold altogether.
Didn't it go up in some regions at one point, Game Pass Ultimate? Not too long ago.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with it because I'm rewarded for it up to the 9s basically, so I haven't had to pay for it since it came out. But it wouldn't surprise me, and I think that it will happen at some stage. Because it's really their way of pushing forward. But while they're still the underdogs in terms of their competition with Sony, they have to keep those prices down to keep people on side, because that's the messaging, right? Is that Microsoft have been very pro-consumer this last generation, and they're hoping to continue that narrative going forward. But it's they obviously still want to make a profit because they want to use that as much as possible. But all it takes to burn your goodwill is a couple of Don Matrick-esque shitty decisions like this to really sour your reputation.
Yeah, 100%. So the other,
it's such an out of the blue thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Exactly. They've just exactly, and I cannot think of a worse time to increase your pricing when people are using your service the most.
Yeah.
During a pandemic when a lot of people are inside playing video games,
strapped for cash.
Yeah, if there's any company that's not strapped for cash, it's Microsoft.
I mean, as in consumers though, strapped for cash.
Consumers, absolutely, yes, exactly. It feels really shitty in a lot of ways. And it feels like massively tone deaf.
Well, like you were saying, it's like, hey, you guys got a stimulus, let's hand it over.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly, right.
So, quickly before we move on to, I just want to touch base on the fact that Games with Gold having 5 games next month.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
So, do we think this is, I feel like this was to soften the blow of the game with the gold information. I mean,
maybe.
How often do you see 5 games in a month?
I mean, never. This is the first time. But is this the new trend?
Yeah.
Is this going to be? I mean, they can't really afford to give away Series X games because there aren't any.
Yeah. But I mean, Feb is a really bloody good month.
Yeah. So what are they giving away next month?
Gears 5. I'm just trying to remember all of them now. Games are called Feb.
So your Gears 5, Lost Planet 2, Resident Evil, the Xbox One version.
That's it, yeah.
Dendara, which was a Game Pass game, and there was one other that I can't remember.
What was the other free?
Xbox Originals in there.
Yeah, it was an original game of some sort.
It?
Yeah, that no one cares about.
An Indiana one, as I recall.
Oh yeah, Indiana Jones. Yeah.
Okay. So,
but I mean, that's a really strong month for a casual, somebody that doesn't care about achievements and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of game quality, there's some good stuff in there.
Gears 5 is big.
Gears 5 is a big one. I guess the other thing is that, a lot of the stuff is the things that were or currently are in Game Pass.
Yep.
Whether that affects the decision, I'm not sure. But, yeah, Gears 5 is a great get. And I obviously want people trying this stuff out on their the Series X's.
So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see if this is going to be a trend moving forward, or if it's just going to drop back down to 4 games.
Yeah.
Or if they use this as their way to kind of all right, we'll soften the blow of giving you the Xbox Originals. We'll give you 5 games, and one of those 5 will be an Xbox original.
I'm wondering how many more 360 games they're going to do, or how much. I mean, people were talking about whether the service was even going to continue into the next generation.
Yeah.
But it seems like they are dedicated to keeping it around at least for a little bit.
Well, saying on the other side of the fence, PlayStation had, what was it, the Shark game Control
Maneater?
Ultimate. They had Maneater January. I'm just trying to think what else. I think one of the Tomb Raider games.
Oh, okay.
Else. And next month for them is Destruction All Stars, Control Ultimate Edition, and some third game I haven't heard of. So, I mean, bloody good month from both services.
All right. Well, let's. I guess it makes sense as one company are doing it, the other probably will keep following it until someone blinks, as is always the case between Sony and Microsoft. It seems. All right. What about our other news story here? The real news story if you haven't heard about this, you've been living under a rock, because holy shit, this is the most.
I just don't know where to start with this though. There's so much.
Let's start with GameStop. You might have heard of it. It's it's one of the few brick and mortar retailers still around that only exclusively do video games. I guess they do other merch stuff as well, but video games was their primary seller.
10% and 90% pop.
Yeah.
Any other meaningless.
Basically, any geek shit getting Thor's Mjolnir or all that other crap. But so they're as we've talked about in the past, GameStop has been in financial trouble for a little bit. People have sort of seen their business looking like they're kind of on their last legs. So
their shares back in January were like $4 US, just to give you an idea.
Exactly, and people were thinking that people were thinking that this might be the end for them in terms of they get through this generation, especially during COVID. They were having a lot of troubles. They labeled themselves an essential service to try and stay open. And people theorized that was because they were essentially a few months away from bankruptcy. They seem to have gotten a little bit of a new lease on life with the new generation, but for how long that lasts, we don't know.
Well, they did get that partnership with Microsoft, so...
Yeah, exactly. So there is definitely some of that. But, as we've seen more digital consoles come up, I think we're seeing sort of the death of brick and mortar. I know we've been saying that for a long time, but it's become readily apparent that they weren't going to be around for very long.
And
so
I feel
a lot of
2020's kind of sped up the process a little.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, kind of laid bare the fact that they were not in a good spot. But so a bunch of hedge fund managers basically said, okay, well, this is the share price of this is clearly going to go down, so we're going to short all of these stocks. We're not going to go into the whole thing about how this works, but essentially, they decided that they were going to borrow some stocks and then sell them and then return them to the original person, or buy them back and return them to the original person for less than they paid for them to make a profit, which is essentially how shorting works. What they did not expect was the fact that they have massively shorted these stocks in like a ridiculous, like over
120%.
Yeah, so more than actually exists. Which again, this is some Wall Street accounting bullshit that is way beyond me. I wish Alex was on this week because he would be able to explain it. Yeah. So Reddit, Wall Street Bets, have decided that, well, you know what, we're just going to say fuck you and buy as much stock as possible to drive the prices up, because essentially this borrowed stock that these hedge fund managers have bought has to be returned, they have to rebuy it and give it back at before a certain date, and they have to buy it back at whatever price it is. And as they're expecting it to go down, they were going to make a profit. But because people are buying and holding onto the stock price gets so incredibly high that they are massively out of money. I think what was the latest on that, Cameron?
I can't even keep up. Like, it keeps on changing every.
Yeah, the last I heard was $7 billion.
Yeah, billions. I mean, when you're talking numbers like that,
it's hard to even comprehend
because
risking and losing that much money.
Wasn't it the case like 1 or 2 days ago? Other hedge funds were trying to help bail them out with like a $2 billion. Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, they're in big trouble, and they're losing their collective shit. It's like I've never seen anything like. I don't think anyone has ever seen anything like this in terms of retail buyers getting one up on the hedge fund managers. Again, whether this changes anything in terms of laws, people like the Republicans, the Democrats, they're all united on this. It's ridiculous.
I was gonna say it's so weird to see so many, politicians come together.
Who could have seen that this was the major bipartisan thing that would truly unite the world is fucking over hedge fund managers trying to be sneaky. In the latest news, they're some of the stock. I think was it Robinhood. One of the.
So what they did, they stopped all buying of these shares, and they would only allow selling, which is very, very,
very shady.
Very shady.
It's
I was going to say not
shady.
illegal, but
I mean technically it is. I mean,
is it?
Yes, essentially because the other thing is that one of the hedge funds is actually partially owns the parent company of Robinhood.
But the question is though, is it illegal though when it screws over the little guy but not the big guy?
Well, that's the question. I mean, in terms of the letter of the law, that's definitely illegal, and there's almost certainly going to be an investigation. Whether anything comes of it, who knows? I just think it's absolutely fucking hilarious.
I love the Reddit post and all this though, just especially there was one that I saw yesterday where it was just like, I've never had anything more than like $1,000 in my savings account. Like this, this whole mentality does not scare me. I'm just going to hold on. If I lose at the end of the day, I didn't give a shit. But you can't just bully us out of it.
Yeah, exactly. And people aren't selling. It's like the guy who has the most of it. He put like 700,000 into it. He put 700, and he was up. He was up to what it was like almost 15 million, and he didn't sell. He just held on to it. He lost like 7 million of that of as the worth has come down, but he's just holding on.
It's halved in the last 24 hours, yeah.
Yeah. So it's insane. I've never seen. It's just who knows what's going to happen? I'm going to keep a close eye on it. I mean, you can't escape it. Like this is crazy.
And I mean, saying that at the same time, the memes coming out of this.
It's like top
golden.
Top tier. People are loving it.
I saw the Michael Scott handshake one, just like GameStop awarding their GameStop employees that have no idea what they've done.
Yeah, I think my favorite one was GameStop sitting in a Fortune 500 business meeting, and it's just Big Bird sitting around a bunch of business people. Yep. That's my favorite one. Anyway, it's only tangentially game related, but like we could not talk about it, right? Like it's just ridiculous. What this means for GameStop, I have no idea. I mean, they got to sell the stock at some stage, right? I suppose.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's just, that's exactly it. Like,
hopefully the company owns some GameStop stock.
Yeah, exactly right. And yeah, exactly. A lot of it could potentially still be owned by other hedge fund managers. Like, it's a publicly traded company, so it all remains to be seen. But it is just great seeing the great financial elites just losing their ever-loving shit over this.
It's just gonna make for a very entertaining start to 2021.
All right. With that out of the way, let's get into what we've been playing. I'll just go first quickly because I haven't got too much. I have been playing Resident Evil 4. One of the achievements showed up in my warboats. Thanks, Planting. It was for finishing the game, so I decided that like I was just at the end of the castle, and I decided that all I had left to do was a couple hours left in the island. So I decided, yep, sure, get on it. That's still a really good game. It controls like shit though. It's so stiff in terms of just like not being able to shoot while moving, and just the kind of movement around dodging stuff doesn't really it doesn't need to be Resident Evil 6 where you're diving all over the place like it's the fucking Matrix, but it's definitely you can tell that it got its start in terms of like that tank control early Resident Evil stuff, and it was kind of in that middle point before we kind of got to the more sort of Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil 6, Dead Space style of over the shoulder camera before getting into like Gears of War where it gets to the sort of extreme. Still a really quality game. I need to go through and do the side Separate Ways mission. And then I guess I need to do the professional difficulty playthrough, which I'm really not looking forward to. But it is what it is. I've done it before on the 360. It's just might as well do it on the Xbox One. Also playing through some Gears of War 2 Japan. I mean, playing might be stretching it. I'm basically doing horde mode. Got to do all 29 of those maps. And, oh God, it's so boring. It's so boring. Why did they put this achievement in here? Anyway, I'll get it done at some stage, but it's one of those things that I've had sitting there for ages. They've also taken away the 44 times experience that's been on there for the last few years. That dropped off sort of mid last year. So now going back to it, getting to level 100 is going to take me 44 times as long, unfortunately.
Well, it's single now. It's not like quad or anything.
Nope, it's nothing. It's back down to single digits. You finish a horde wave on casual, you get 50 experience.
Why did it stop it?
It broke apparently, but no, apparently people have been trying to ask them to fix it. No one knows whose responsibility it is. It's a fucking mess. But might do some King of the Hill boosting for that, I guess. I don't know. There are still a lot of sessions. People are playing the game still quite a bit in terms of boosting, so not quite completely out in the cold with that, but it's just going to take a lot longer than expected. Thankfully, I'm already level 55, so I have made some progress on it over the last few years. It just means that it's going to be a bit of an uphill trudge. And then the last thing I've been playing is Plague Tale PC version. It's PC Game Pass. This game is fantastic. I absolutely love it. It was probably close to being my game of the year in 2009. And I still totally stand by that. I love the narrative. The puzzle element is great. It looks good. It sounds good. The feeling of it, it's just like you feel like you really get that disgusting grungy feel of just like, rats everywhere and people living in like hovels and just everything is dirty and damp and like fire is like they do such a great contrast between light and dark in that game. Not just because that light is the only thing that keeps the rats away, but also in terms of how you can use it as a puzzle mechanic to knocking out a lantern that a guy's carrying so the rats will swarm him, or knocking out a light using a lure to lure rats across across an area, and then igniting the light again so that they're trapped on that side, so you're free to explore. I'm getting towards the end. I think I'm on chapter 12 out of 17, so I know that there's sort of the big sort of story revelation is coming up, and then it's the sort of final act. Highly recommended. It's on Game Pass. I would definitely play it. It's been a year, I think.
I was going to say at the same time too, I found a copy for $5 at AEB in Australia.
So that's a great deal.
So I just went screw it. It's on Game Pass, but I'm picking it up anyway.
Yeah, it's a great game. I think it's been a year since it was put onto the service, so I don't know how much longer it's going to be on there. Yeah. So that's why I'm making sure to go through it now. But I've really been enjoying going through the PC Game Pass stuff. It's great to revisit some stuff, play a couple of new things, and now obviously because I'm not buying any games this year, Game Pass has really been watching all the new stuff come in and sort of experiencing a lot of it all over again.
So how many Paradox games are you going to play on Windows?
Oh boy, yeah, Paradox. Yeah, Paradox is. I mean, maybe I might actually I quite like Crusader Kings and stuff, but some of those achievements are just
not worth the risk. I know you're a completionist. Don't do it to yourself.
Yeah, no, I haven't got. Yeah, I just yeah.
Stellaris took me 2 hours to figure out how to pop my first achievement.
Yeah, exactly. So I might give it a miss, but I do really appreciate their games. I might actually do the stack for Control. I wonder if my laptop can run it. I guess we'll see. Definitely not with ray tracing, but yeah. I'm also looking at maybe playing the Medium now that it's just come out. Maybe once to get a collectible guide. Looks relatively short, maybe 8 to 10 hours. It's pretty simple.
And Macca said he should have one coming out tomorrow.
Oh, great! And then Bloober Team, because Bloober Team don't tend to put out a lot of DLC or extra stuff for their games, so be happy to just have that completion done and kind of move on, which is perfect for Game Pass, really. Yeah. Cameron, what about you?
Mine's pretty self-explanatory. So I've finished off Yakuza Kiwami from last week in terms of just completing the story and doing most of the little nitty-gritty stuff. I've just got to go through, do mini games and sub stories, but that's even 15 to 20 achievements still. So there's quite a bit.
It's a lot of there, yeah.
So because I finished the main story, I went, all right, I can do a bit of this cleanup later. Went straight on to 2. It's so weird because 2 is such a more advanced game. But then
it came out quite a bit later.
Yeah.
I think there was a bit of a gap between them originally.
But at the same time, I feel like there's so much more fluff now.
Right. Yeah.
So, like, Kiwami, in terms of, like, having the 4 different fighting styles is great. 2's just very streamlined. They make some welcome changes, like, instead of you having to... Like, for example, you have to go and drink at a bar and do all the certain drinks to complete that bar. In Kiwami, you'll take 2 drinks, and they'll just say, hey, you're a little bit drunk right now. I suggest a brisk walk. So you'll go around, walk around for a few minutes, come back, do the next 2, rinse and repeat.
Okay.
Kiwami 2, you can basically just do everything at once. Oh, well, it limits you to 7 drinks, but you can do all the food items at once. And the only negative factor to it is that your XP is, as soon as you're full, no more XP.
Right,
That's
okay. But you can still do the stuff
but
you
can
need
get,
for 100%.
Yeah, you can get the entire restaurant done in one go, or 2 goes, and it's much easier. Everything feels much more open world. Like, as in, no transition between going into buildings. Fight seems a very... Best way to describe it is like how the old Pokemon, you run into a trainer kind of thing. It's seamless now. It's just straight away into it.
Right.
Just trying to think what else. But then at the same time, they added this clan battle kind of mode, which just doesn't feel necessary to me.
Okay.
And then a cabaret mode where you're just basically being a business manager.
I hear the cabaret has been a popular thing. It's been in quite a few of the later games as well, especially I think Zero was a big element of it.
It's interesting, but like just straight away, like it doesn't. Like I'll play for the story. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying every second, and then I get thrown into this what feels like a mini game to me, and just breaks the immersion.
Right. Okay.
And like, I have no problem doing it as like a side, like a sub story or something like that. But like when it's dead center in one of the main missions, it's like, all right, well, I'm doing 5 minutes of this now. I was really hooked on the story. This is pulling me back out.
Ooh, I think you're going to have some trouble with the later games then, because I think they just add more and more and more of that stuff when it
like
comes
in
to
the center.
when it comes to extras.
Okay. Like extras, I've got no problem with if I'm sitting down doing that for like 2 hours straight to bang out that achievement, that's fair. If I'm going from fighting, like brawler kind of style, to managing a club, then fighting, then doing some kind of top-down clan management game, that's where it just doesn't feel right to me.
Right.
The last thing you want in a game is it just chucking too many things at you at once and then having to adapt your games. Yeah.
Some
100%.
games can pull like a good genre mix off, and other ones, they can't do that mesh.
Have you played any of the Yakuza games, Warren?
I just started them. I haven't really got anywhere in them.
Like, they're great games, but it just, that's the only downside I've had so far. Like, Kiwami, I've been hooked on that, like, for the last week and a half. The only time I've pretty much stopped playing it is just to do some boosting in Forza Horizon. And even that I'm nearly finished with. Me and Archful, one of my friends from the Xbox Achievement community, we have been boosting out just the wins. We're going to get to level 25. We're probably just going to do like infected matches, because it's basically a minute timer and then 1,000 XP. And then I have to go and find all these boards, which I have like
good luck.
missing. I've got some on the map that I just...
I'll say get the map out, mate.
Like, I know there's a way to do it, I just can't be bothered at the moment.
The way I did it was I spent a couple bucks and...
Yep.
Yeah. I'd like it if that was still an option.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah. But, none of the DLC is purchasable anymore.
Right.
Otherwise I'll just buy it and get it all done, but yeah. But yeah, online road trips, I mean, if we had more players, would be pretty cool, but even just spending a few hours traveling from point A to point B, it's interesting because I can see how it's inspired the series, but at the same time, it's a turn 10 game compared to Playground games.
Yeah, and like I was going to say, like you've been playing the games backwards, basically. So you're basically seeing a lot of the good stuff that they fixed in the later games being stripped away.
I feel like, though, 1 is a very good, like, canvas to start with. 2 is a massive misstep in terms of, like, the road tripping kind of stuff. 3 just got it perfect, and then 4 just went further with the season stuff. But it'll be interesting. Once I get 1 done, I'll start 2, if I can find a 360 copy. I'm still debating whether to...
You can hit larger and larger trees as the games go up in number.
What was that?
You can hit larger and larger trees as the games go up in numbers.
That's exactly it. So, I messed myself up so much in 1 because I was like, try and go for an for a fence or something. And it's like, all right, cool. This is obviously like just the map border.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Put it on the back of the box.
But it's. I've just done so much racing on 3 and 4 that it's just instinct to go straight at the fence. Like nothing's going to stop you. But yeah, no, not the case.
You still thinking of importing a copy of the 360 version
of
a Horizon?
How do you mean? Horizon 2.
Horizon 2, rather.
Yeah. I mean, if I can find a copy. I want to get 1 done first, and as soon as I do get 1, I will do 2. But I know that as soon as I start 2, I'm going to hate myself at the same time.
Yeah, that's not something I would put myself through for sure. But...
It's a grind. That's work.
It's a grind, but like at the end of the day too, I can proudly say like I've got all the Horizon games done.
Talking.
Yeah, I was going to say, Elite Dangerous much?
Actually, no, not really. I've been playing too much Bioshock as of late.
Oh, man.
Oh, dear. And then just to quickly wrap it up, been playing a little bit of Black Ops 4 Zombies, because one of my other goals this year is the COD series completion. So.
Oh, boy, that's going to be a big one. You're going to be very busy this year.
I'm going to be very, very busy boy this year, but like, if I can... Like I said, if I can get to December and have a few series completions under my belt, even if I don't get all my goals done, like, to have some series completions would be something good on my tag.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah, what about you, Warren? What have you been playing?
Honestly, not a whole lot. Mostly it was stuff for Warboats, and then just kind of playing some of the new Game Pass stuff. I've really gotten into Torchlight 3. It's a crazy dungeon crawler, like a lot of... things I get stuck into. It's a long grind, and I'm going to end up spending a bunch of time in it, I'm sure, because it's just...
How are you finding it? I played the original, but I never really got into 2 or 3.
Honestly, I was expecting I was going to be underground, and lo and behold, this is all pretty much above ground. That was the first weird thing to me, but the gameplay is essentially the same thing. It's just a dungeon crawler. I thought it was like procedural, but no, the dungeons seem like laid out already. So it's just kind of like literally you just cranking through. The quests pretty much explore each region linearly. So once you get a quest that says, "Hey, go here," and you find that location, I mean, you can keep exploring for more XP and stuff, but you're going to end up having to explore later anyways for further quests. So I don't know.
This is going to be one of those 200-hour plus games by the looks of it.
Yes, because when you look at the achievements, there's different character classes. You got to get 60 with all 4 character classes.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm level 30 with my first character now after, I don't know, 20 hours maybe, 25 hours.
28.88 ratio.
Whew, all right.
It's going to be a grind. And since that thing just started, that's going to be a good like 12, 15K probably. It's going to be a solid game.
Okay. I mean, yeah. Hey, that's nothing to scoff at.
No. Am I going to get the completion? Probably not. That's a lot of work. It's fun though. I mean, I'll definitely grant you that. If you like the mindless, just cruising through a dungeon, bashing stuff, getting new gear, going, "Oh, this is better. Okay," and put that on and keep grinding more. You'll love it because that's all it is.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to start any more of those types of games till I go back and finish up Diablo 3 and get the 5 million gold achievement in 360. That's the last one I've got, and I've been putting it off for several years. But one of these days, I'm just going to sit down and do it. Ugh.
I have to
You
tweak
can do
your next event grid somehow so that it comes.
Oh God. Oh.
Just set up a custom one for him. Just make everything a collector fun.
Actually, if the next event comes out that we're talking about, that we've been discussing as of late, you'll have a lot of say over what you play and how it goes.
Oh, fantastic.
That's not what we want. We want no options. We want him to do all the hard stuff in his tag.
Yeah, I really should have curated my list a little bit better. Well.
For once, I actually curated the crap out of my Warboats list. And that's kind of what I've been playing a lot lately, is things like Wheels of Aurelia and Virginia, Ascendance, and just kind of cleaning up that weird stuff I just never got to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, sounds good. Anything else? You said you mentioned you were playing some Bioshock?
Oh, yeah. We got a group together that we've been doing some Bioshock 2 Korean boosting, and if you've done turret boosting, you know how fun that is. You just stand and push A over and over, or if you're lucky enough you got a Cronus that's doing it for you. But
yeah, I'm having flashbacks to the 4 times that I've done that now. Christ.
Well, there's only 5 to do, right?
Yeah, I think the Korean one is the only one I'm missing.
Ah, man, you can join us.
I'd have to find a copy of it, which is that's the tricky bit. Those things are not cheap.
Correct. They're going up. I mean, I think I spent like $60 when I grabbed this one.
Oof. Yeah, and shipping to New Zealand is taking a long time. I just got a Japanese copy of a game, and it took about 3 to 4 weeks to get here, when usually it would be maybe a week. And I still paid out the ass for shipping, so it's not great. But it is what it is. But you're a stronger man than I. All right. You been playing anything else, or do you want to move? Should we move on?
No, let's move. Yeah, it's tons of stuff, but nothing of any length that I can discuss.
Fair. All right. So we've got a couple of questions this week. One of them is from Isaac, one of our faithful listeners. He says, "Hey guys, do you use the goals feature on TA? If so, what are your current goals on there? If not, how do you stay motivated to hit your goals? Thanks for the show." You're welcome, Isaac. Cameron, since you've been talking about your sort of goals for the year, let's start with you.
I don't really use the TA functions really that much for goals.
So what do you use instead then? I guess. Do you have a whiteboard like Pluto does, or?
I use a whiteboard sometimes, but I'm not even to that extent. Like all I know for this year, for example, is I have 7 goals, and I've got them. In a forum post, in a post on TA.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I can just go back and edit that at any one time and just update it as I see fit.
You haven't been using the list feature?
Who uses the list feature? What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's a fair point. Warren, what about you?
Yes and no. I do tend to use the goals as a way to help push myself to work on stuff. Like right now I got one for, I think it was to crank out 50k more Xbox 360 gamer score. So I've been working on random stuff like that, or leaderboards, genre leaderboards. I'll try to stay on top of for silly reasons. Like the equestrian sports. Everyone loves their horses.
Classic horse game list.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, as for me, I don't use the feature too much. I have been challenged a few times by people in the past. There was a guy, Ace. He was trying to beat me in Gamerscore. Good luck, buddy. I think he was at 50,000 last time I checked. So he's got a long way to go. But he always keeps the tracker on there to see how much he's gained on me versus I've gained on him. And he is catching me slowly but surely. I just need to go into a coma for a decade, and he'll be right there. In terms of how I stay motivated, I don't really have a huge amount of goals in terms of what I've been trying to achieve, other than raising my completion percentage. And thankfully, TA makes that front and center for me. As I mentioned on the show before, I've played so many games that raising my percentage by a single point takes about 600 achievements of games that I've started. So I've been trying to hit 95% completion for a very, very long time. I'm sitting at 94.6. I need another 219 achievements. So I'm doing a lot of cleanup, and I think that things like the random to-do list and things like Warboats especially was quite good at getting me to go back and get back into some of those games that I have low ratio achievements in because I started but didn't really do anything with. So games like Beholder and the stuff in Terraria, and then also what was the other one that I started? Ginger Beyond the Crystal. It's just like a lot of relatively simple trash that I just haven't really put the time into that I should be. So like I use TA as a bit of an incentive to get me back into stuff, and also talking with what other people are doing and trying to, like when we're doing Rise Son of Rome, for example, the AHA were doing that as a big sort of group thing, and got both me and Cameron in on doing that at the same time. It's like stuff that we've had sitting there for ages but just never got back to, and people talking about it and creating a bit of buzz and a bit of interest. The sort of personal, never underestimate the personal element of achievement hunting. As much as I hate people, I also love them. Hopefully that answers your question, Isaac. And yeah, let us know what kind of goals you have set up, and then do you have a crazy corkboard with red string, trying to connect all the dots and work out the best way to finish all your games? And also send me some Japanese games, man. I know you got the hookup. We also have another question from Happy Moogles, a new member of the community. He just had a question. Is it at all possible to add achievements to original Xbox games? Do you guys have any idea what needs to be done for this? Is it too difficult, or is it just not possible? I figured we'd probably, we're not developers by any means, but we probably talk about the idea itself. I remember when they originally announced that they were going to be bringing Xbox Originals to the 360. I bought Psychonauts because I was super excited to be able to play it again because I didn't have my PlayStation anymore. And I was, there was a lot of talk about, are they going to do achievements? Will it work? What work do they need to put into it? But it turns out originally the game's just reading off the disc, so they didn't make any changes to it. They essentially just emulated the original Xbox. I would say, I think that would be a really great move on Microsoft's part, especially with them putting stuff out with Games with Gold, and giving away these Xbox Originals and giving people a really good incentive to go back and play them. I know that as part of the achievement community, we're kind of a niche, but they've done, PlayStation have done this with some of their old PlayStation 2 originals. I think it was Jedi Starfighter and a couple other Star Wars games that they re-released with trophy support. I think it would be a really, really good move. What do you guys think?
Well, that was my question. What kind of trophy support did PlayStation add? Did they actually look into the game and add hooks for do something action 10 times, or is it just get to X point in the story? I mean, how deep into the game can they look to make these achievement hooks?
Well, I think they sort of. I believe there was again. I'm by no means an Xbox. I'm no means a PlayStation expert, but I think the way they did it was, if you had it was only downloadable versions of the game, so you couldn't just put your old disc in and it would give you the it was a reworked, I wouldn't say remastered or anything, but it was a touched up version where they had done some technical support. But they are apparently I'm just looking at the list now. There's maybe 50 games or so that they put in there. And a lot of them are the ones that I played back in the day. They had Dark Cloud, Dark Chronicle, the original Destroy All Humans, the original Grand Theft Autos, Harvest Moon games, Psychonauts, Red Faction. Some of the stuff is stuff that got ported, but looking at trophy support, I'll just pull up the Dark Chronicle one because that's a game that I know very, very well from my childhood. That doesn't exist anymore. That's helpful. Thanks,
your childhood doesn't exist anymore?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Well, you've just become an adult right now?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I was born that way, really. Let's have a look. You guys, Cameron, give us your opinions while I'm checking this out.
Alright, so realistic side of it, I don't see it ever happening.
No.
As much as we will hope and wish for it and all that, and I know that I've only really been on Xbox, or really been interested in achievements ever since the launch of the Xbox One. The only time I've ever seen this even come up remotely is when backwards compatibility got added for the 360 to go to the One. And then you had the OGs hitting the Xbox One as well. It was talked about, it was discussed, nothing ever came from it. I do think it is possible, but I don't think the investment is there for it to be any like benefit.
Yeah, I would agree. So I was just looking at like the achievement list here. It has a lot of stuff here in terms of like complete chapters, level up weapons, like anything you would expect to see. Okay. I think essentially what they did is they remade they basically took these games and re-added the triggers in them for as if it was a PlayStation 4 game, and that's kind of how it reads. It's just emulating the actual visuals of the old game. But yeah, there was quite a small sort of select list that they re-released, I guess. But I imagine it would work pretty well on the Xbox in terms of like their library is not massive, and if they kind of pick and choose which ones they want to add it to, and they don't have to do every single one, I imagine it would probably be pretty successful.
Where's the limit?
It comes down to the market. I mean, yes, the games are there, and I'm not going to say that you're wrong with that, but I mean, how many people buy games for achievements? Now, granted, as of late, we've seen that there's a publisher that's kind of making a name for themselves for selling achievements. So obviously, there is a market, but is it a big enough market for Microsoft to want to get in on it? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, it is a good point, but
I just don't see the casual gamer going back to buy for any reason other than nostalgia.
Sure, but I think that sort of sweetens the deal at least a little bit. But you're right. I don't think they would put in the work to do that, unless maybe they do a bundle or they do like a remaster bundle or something along those lines.
It comes to discussion of though, to the casual gamer, taking achievement hunting out of it completely, to the casual gamer, backwards compatibility is just it's more or less of a useless feature that needs to be there. And let me explain.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Most gamers will just want to go for the newest, the most upgraded, the AAAs, the ones that score highly on Metacritic, that kind of stuff, yeah?
Sure.
Majority of gamers are going to be like that. There will be the others that want to go for the nostalgia, want to, will play something from 10 years ago just to have that hit from their childhood.
Yep, exactly.
Backwards compatibility, it's a useful feature for us, yeah? But it's one of those things that exists because people don't like, the fact that they're moving up to the next PlayStation or the next Xbox and not being able to play the games that they've already bought.
Yeah, sure. They're essentially losing their access to their purchase.
They're losing their purchase.
Especially if they're not keeping their old console, trading in to get a new one, etc., etc. Yeah.
So that's why, to me, backwards compatibility is great because I can go back in any 360 game, that's been upgraded, and Xbox has really driven it, having 4K updates, that kind of stuff. But for the majority of gamers, it's just going to be like, well, when's our Series X games coming? When's the new stuff coming? When am I going to be fully immersed, thrown into a game, and uploaded to the cloud?
Yeah, actually, I mean, you're right. Like, I would love to go back and nostalgia over a lot of these games and get achievements to do it, but realistically, I can still just go and play the games if I really want to. It does. The experience doesn't change for me or most other people.
And the problem is, at the same time, nostalgia is not always the greatest thing. You may remember, like, prime example for me is a lot of Nintendo 64 games. I just remember them with so much like fun, loving memories in my head. But then I'll go back and play them, and I'm just like, "What the hell is this controller? How did I put up with this?"
The controller is awful. I mean, like I think Nintendo 64 is terrible. But like if you look at like the PlayStation or, I mean, even the original Xbox has a few gems on it that I'm like most of them made it over to the backwards compatibility program. But I totally get what you mean. Like we do tend to look at this stuff with sort of rose-tinted glasses in terms of what we put up with because we didn't know any better.
As much as it would be,
that's just what it was available at the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sure.
As much as it would be great to go replay some of these OG ones with achievements, I mean, like the only things I can remotely even considering come close to is Rare Replay.
Yeah, that's kind of was what I was thinking as well, where they essentially, like, Grabbed by the Ghoulies, for example, they essentially remade that game or redid it with achievements within Rare Replay. That's
the only example I can think of, and that was the only OG Xbox game on Rare Replay, yeah?
Well, I guess then technically there's, on Xbox, there's been a few actually. There's, I can't think of the names of them now. but a couple of like old school collections with like 20,
Yeah,
30
yeah,
games
sure.
on them. It was just old school or arcade kind of.
Yeah, so I guess like the Sega collections and stuff
But
like
yeah,
that.
are they going to
suppose.
be individually remastered? Like you can put your disc in the drive and download the, or is it a special? Here's your game. Play the old school
Yeah, like
Galaga with achievements.
if,
It'd be
if
awesome.
yeah, if they did like a Xbox Greatest Hits collection, original Xbox Greatest Hits collection, like there would definitely be like a download. You wouldn't be able to use your own disc because they would justify it by saying that they've done the collation around these things, and maybe they have some extra bits and pieces in there, and they've redone it so it fits on widescreen and stuff like that. So yeah, well, which is like I think is fine because I think you're adding value and bringing a collection of games out to people who may not have played them. But I don't think we're going to get to that backwards compatibility of put the old disc in and get achievements for the game.
So sorry, no Vision Camuno.
No, oh god, ugh, not anymore. Anyway, not since the last time. And yeah, actually, the less said about that, the better. All right, moving swiftly on. We've stumbled towards the end of the show. So if you want to get in contact with us, you can email us at hello@RealGamerscore, or you can hit us up on the Twitter at RealGamerscore. Cameron manages that. As we mentioned earlier, discord.io/RealGamerscore and patreon.com/RealGamerscore if you want to join the chat or and have a discussion with us and the rest of our community, or you want to give us some cash, respectively. And like I said, you can write in some questions to any of those. Best place is usually the Discord on the Discord channel, so we can collect them in one place and we can mark them off once we've answered them so we don't miss them. But Isaac, we do see your emails and we do make sure to answer them as quickly as we can. Again, if you want to help the podcast, you guys know how this all works. Subscribe to us on your platform of choice. Leave us a review. Tell your friends. Word of mouth is always huge for us. And that's pretty much it. If you want to get in contact with me, you can find me on NeoMaster on pretty much everything. True Achievements, Discord, Xbox. You guys know the deal. Warren, what about you?
Probably easiest just to find me either on Xbox, Planting 42, True Achievements, obviously, Planting 42, or on Discord. I'm kicking out and either here Real Gamer Score or other, the True Achievements Discords and whatnot. So yeah, I'm kicking around. You can find me.
And Cameron?
You can find me on the Twitter under Real Game Score. You can find me on Xbox and TA under Shadowless Edge, and you can find me on the Xbox Achievement Community on Facebook.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Peace.
Catches.